Hi, I'm Ron Jackson with acoustic guitar, and today we're going to be talking about how to embellish melodies and make them your own by using some simple techniques. Now, you just heard Mozart's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, my little embellishment about that. In the early 1780s, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart took a simple French song and whose melody everybody knows is, I just played it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and used it to make these 12 variations, okay? And you'd be wondering what a classical piano work has to do with some steel string or a nylon string acoustic guitar playing. But the concept in Mozart's piece is relevant to no matter what style you play. So we're going to take basic melodies in this weekly workout and change the rhythms, the pitches, articulations like Mozart did, and you can make up some variations. In this weekly workout, we'll start with a simple melody and use these techniques and take it to a bunch of different places. Do the same with your own favorite melodies, and you can breathe new life into your music. So let's get started. Here's week one. Example number one is a melody in the key of C major in its most basic form, comprised of only quarter notes and half notes. Work through the melody several times until you get it under your ears and under your fingers. Play it as written in first position, and if you like, try to play it in other positions and try it in finger style or with a pick, which I'm mostly doing today, or with hybrid picking, which is using your fingers and pick. So here's example number one. I'm going to do it real slow at approximately 70. You can use your metronome. I'll put it on to get the tempo right now. So the tempo is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. In example number two, once you know the melody inside out with example number one, it's a variation actually of example number one, and we add eighth notes as well as passing tones, pitches, connecting melody notes. And if you're playing examples number two with a plectrum or a pick, you can use alternate picking, using alternate strokes of your thumb and middle finger if you're using fingerstyle picking, okay? Also, there's some new things that you'll see on the music here, things called articulations on the notes. Now, you'll see a dot, which means staccato, which means to cut the note short, and you'll see an accent, which means a note should be played with emphasis. So if you play a note short with staccato, it will sound like this. And the accent is play the note strong, like that, okay? Here's example number two, quarter note at 65. 1, 2, 3, 4. In example number 3, you'll see that it's a more complex version of example number 2. Here you'll find a little syncopation, rhythms in which stress is given more to the weak beats instead of the strong beats. In bar 3, there's a short line above the note which is called tenuto, meaning the note should be held for its full value, or just a little longer if you can. In bar 5, there's on beat 1, there's a sforzando. These are all Italian terms, just in case you want to know. A strong and sudden accent. If you're using your pick, follow the suggested pick strokes, which should help you play efficiently so you can make the melody sing. I suggest performing this piece at about 60 to 70 beats per minute. Example number 3 at a nice slow tempo of about 60. Example number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the end of week 1. Week 2. This week we'll take things up a notch with further variations of the melody. Example 4 introduces slurs, hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides to articulate the melody legato, which means smoothly connected and in a flowing manner. Both hammer-ons and pull-offs are represented by notation by curved lines spanning 2 or more notes. Slides include both curved and diagonal lines. Remember to play the hammer-on, pick the first note like this, okay, and then sound the subsequent note by fretting a finger onto the note that you want to hit. So from a C to a D, I would hit like this. You flick your finger onto that fret. For a pull-off, you would hold the 2 notes, for example, from a D to a C, 2nd string, 3rd fret down to the C like this. I would hit that note. I would make sure I hold that C down with your 1st finger and your 3rd finger. When you play the D, and you would hit that note first and pull your finger and you flick it off. Like, for people who aren't familiar with hammer-ons and pull-offs, I have some other weekly workouts and basics lessons that you can look up in acousticguitar.com. So that's hammer-on and pull-off. Okay? Now for a slide, you pick a note without removing your fretting finger. So for example, if I play a first finger C on the 2nd string, on the 1st fret, I want to play D, I keep that same finger and slide it up like that after I hit the note. That's a slide. Same finger. Okay? That's your target note, the D. So now let's try example number 4. Be sure to use the suggested fretting hand fingerings in order to best negotiate the hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides. Once you polish off that, take a stab at example number 5. So here's example number 4. I suggest playing this a little bit faster because it's harder to play these slurs and slides at a slower tempo. So I say about 70, which sounds like about this. So here we go. Example number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, example number 5 is a variation of example number 3 that includes even more complex slurs. Take things slowly in learning this figure and make sure that the slur notes sound smooth and equal in volume. Here's example number 5. I suggest playing this about 50 and taking your time when all these hammer-ons and pull-offs and slurs occur, where you could slow down a little bit, which is called rubato, and speed it up again. Here we go. Example number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was week number 2. Week number 3. Now let's get ready to embellish the melody with ornaments like grace notes, quick extra notes before the main melody notes, usually played with slurs. We're also going to add trills, the rapid alternation between 2 notes using hammer-ons and pull-offs. Grace notes are represented by small notes, sometimes with slashes through their flags, okay? Trills are indicated with the text TR and the target note in brackets. So in example number 6, we add grace notes and trills to the same melody as example number 2. Play the grace notes with slurs. For example, on beat 1 of bar 1, pick the 3rd fret of the D slightly before beat 1. Then pull off to the 1st fret of C, of the C note, squarely on the beat. It would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. See, it's right on the beat. It's so fast you can't even hardly hear the D. That's the way it should sound. A grace note should be smooth and subtle and not take away attention from the target note. It may take some time to master grace notes in terms of technique and timing, okay? But it's worth it to add sophistication to your playing and also to a melody, especially a melody like example number 7, which is much more densely populated with rhythms and notes, okay? So let's try example number 6, nice and slow. I'd say about 70 on your metronome, so it's not too slow. 2, 3, like that. Example number 6, about metronome marking 70. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's example number 7. I would take it a little bit slower at about metronome marking 60. Here's example number 7, metronome marking about 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was week number 3. Week number 4. This week, you're gonna think like a cool jazz cat, like me. A skilled jazz cat can make the corniest melody sound cool and hip by playing it with a swing feel. Basically, in which a pair of eighth notes is played not evenly, but long and short, giving it a certain bounce. We call it swing. A jazzer might add chromatic passing notes, like the first measure of example number 8, where the C sharp connects the C and D notes, okay? And fancier rhythms like 60-note triplets articulated with hammer-ons and pull-offs. So let's take a look at example number 8. I would play this around the metronome marking about 70, which sounds like this. Or even slower. Let's bring it down to 60. Here's example number 8 with a swing feel around 60-65 beats per minute. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in example number 9, the melody is even more jazzed up. We add chromatic approach notes, notes outside of the key that anticipate notes within the key, and triplets galore. Timing is key here, so use a metronome and really work on making it groove and swing. Example number 9, metronome about 55. 1, 2, 3, 4. Taking it to the next level. Once you've mastered your workout, try this more difficult variation on example number 9, which switches up the positions here and there and adds more complex rhythms. Heads up on the slurred 16-note triplets in bar 2, as well as the slurred 32nd notes, 4 notes per 8th note, in bar 4. Take things slowly, and if needed, subdivide. Feel the music in 8th notes instead of quarter notes, so you nail those tricky note values. Here's the sidebar, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. That ends our weekly workout on embellishing melodies. Thank you very much, and I'm Ron Jackson with Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Have a great time practicing.